So hello, Lena.
Good morning.
We are sharing the news. I'm asking Anya about her visit to Saratov and how regular things are. And well, it's always like this. When you have to meet with the family, you have to prioritize, and it's
Yeah.
difficult sometimes. Right. Ladies, how have you been? What are the highlights of the week? These the themes are, what are they about? Plans, challenges, achievements? So what do you say?
I'd like to talk about my achievement.
Uh-huh.
I've had a break driving, so I have not been driving for about 3 years,
Mhm.
and now it's high time I did it. So I'm doing my best now, and
Mhm.
so every day try to drive a bit around the
Uh-huh.
town. But so on the one hand, that's my achievement because I still can do it, and you know, like the body instinctively remembers that. So it's
Automated skills.
yeah, and I have not thought that it would be like riding a bike, but still, it's quite similar. But on the other hand, when my husband is sitting next to me, that's a challenging experience because he's always trying to do something to he's always giving me advice, and so which I
All
don't.
husbands are like that, Lena, believe
Yeah,
me.
and the most terrifying thing is that I'm a quiet driver, so I don't like speeding much or
Taking risks.
taking
Mm-hmm.
risks and driving so um risky or I
Yeah,
don't know.
any risky way, or
Yeah, and
maneuvering. Mm-hmm.
so he's always beeping some other drivers, but they see me as a driver, not him. But um, that's not a
Stressful.
pleasant thing. Yeah, and so now I'm thinking about driving alone because
Yeah,
that's
I suppose it's the best idea.
the yeah.
Yeah. This is the conclusion that everybody reaches. I hate driving when my husband is sitting next to me because it's always like giving some advice,
Mhm.
signaling or saying, "Oh, don't forget about this one. I remember. Come on, calm down. Hello."
Hello.
Right. Well, Anya.
Mm, so yesterday we were planning to walk because my grandma and my daughter visited a circus, but the weather was not really
Welcoming,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, and in this case, we visited a Korean restaurant, and
Mhm.
yeah, so and I tried a dessert, yeah, that is called moti. Have you ever heard about moti?
Mhm.
Yeah.
No.
So and I really like it. It tastes great. So
Mhm.
my advice, my recommendation is to visit, yeah, this restaurant and
Ah,
try
and
uh,
what is the name of the restaurant? Because I
Mr.
tried the dessert
Mr.
in
Kim.
Moscow.
Mr.
Mr.
Kim.
Kim.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken, so the restaurant was opened maybe a year ago.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Okay.
And what does it taste like?
uh,
The
so
dessert. Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I ordered a strawberry one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it tastes. No, I
Like
can't.
so.
So yeah, I can't explain. You have to taste it, and you will.
Mhm. 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 Okay, but did you try anything else in this restaurant that you recommend trying?
Yeah, but actually, I can't give you the names of these dishes. Yeah,
Mhm.
they are really complicated to pronounce. So the idea is there is the description, yeah, of
Mhm.
the dishes, and you can choose the ones you will like, maybe.
Mhm.
So, but
Mhm.
the main thing that I always ask my husband to choose the dishes because
For you?
yeah, because I spent a lot of time to choose,
Uh,
and
mhm.
basically they are not really tasty. So
So you want to blame your husband for mistakes if you don't like something, right? It's your choice.
no, he always orders the great ones.
I see. Interesting. So, Svetlana, we're sharing the news, how the week was, and well, choose plans, achievement, challenges, anything that you would like to talk about.
Yeah, I've tried this dessert too, and my favorite is a kind of nut taster, which is pistachio in Russian.
Ah,
Pistachio.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
and the weekend was quite ordinary, and
Mhm.
my husband like got ill a bit, and
Mhm.
we had to tackle with this. I just went for a walk and in the park. That's it.
Mhm.
Nothing
Is
special.
he feeling better now?
Yeah, not bad, but this issue won't be solved. I don't know, easily. The kind
Oh, I see.
of blood pressure,
I see.
not heart attack, but something like this.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So something that needs monitoring and
Mhm.
observation.
Yes.
Well, I want to share an achievement with you. It's not actually my achievement. Well, it's partly my achievement, but it's my students' achievement. So I have a student who is the school leaver and who went to Almaty in March to take C1 exam. And
Great.
she was really happy with the procedure, with the way they conducted the exam because they prepared her, explained all the details. So she's immature and, well, she's not an adult. And so I wanted her to know everything. And so she was quite happy. And so she received the results yesterday and passed at grade A. And we are very happy. Well, what I'm trying to say here is that this center in Kazakhstan, they run offsites and they have some offsites in, a small town next to the border, Uralsk. So they come closer, which means in last year they had a C1 exam as well. So Almaty is very, very far. I can imagine that
Yeah,
it's quite
2,000
expensive.
kilometers.
It's
About.
expensive to fly there. Well, so my point here is that I think those who are considering taking exams, it's a good chance to consider and plan things for the next year, maybe. Well, because you remember our seminar about the professional development, certain things like international exams should be planned in advance and then achieved step by step. So what I'm saying is that they are quite reliable. I mean, the team who run the exam, and well, I know that some people choose to go to Georgia or Armenia, but this is one of the options that is worth considering. And I've got a lesson from Anya. Thank you very much. I haven't heard anything from Lena yet.
The lesson
Yeah.
I sent you
Uh-huh.
a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So just
For
a
me.
minute. I'm going to check.
Lena, can you double check that? Maybe I just lost the
Yeah.
message.
So on the
Some-
23rd of April.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get the response from me or Dasha? Oh,
No.
no. Lena, can you try to do this again? Can you resend the link? So
Yeah.
it's great that we have talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Well, and I haven't heard from Svetlana yet. Okay, okay. Well, then we'll discuss that later. Right. So, and then if you resend it,
I
so-
resent it. I resent it.
okay, yeah. Just let me double check that. So before we move any further, and oh, now I see that. I'll great that we have talked about it.
Yeah.
That's great. Right. So we move on. Well, and today we are going to talk a little bit about communication, about getting in touch with people, and we will make a kind of catch up next time because I see that people are quite busy and tired, and I hope that nobody posts any vocabulary, notes below. I see that people are struggling to meet the deadlines, right? Do you have time to talk?
No.
No.
Unfortunately.
You remember that old habits die hard, and
Mhm.
good habits are difficult to develop. So please try to, find a way to send at least messages to each other. But
Mhm.
meanwhile, I want you to think of news. How do you get the news? How do you find out about things happening around in the city, in the country, in the world? So what do you do to get the news?
I suppose from the internet it is the best way to get
Mhm.
the news. And actually, I try not to watch TV. I mean, the news from
Mhm.
TV to get
Mhm.
the news from TV. Um, I suppose it's a waste of time.
Mhm.
I don't trust the information from
On TV. Mhm.
yeah
Mhm.
on TV.
Mhm.
So what about you girls?
Uh-huh. What
The
about
urgent news gets us, I think. So
uh-huh.
we
Uh-huh.
don't even need to, I don't know, Google or surf the internet for like to
Mhm.
get them. For example, especially bad ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I never watch TV either. So,
Yes,
Uh-huh.
neither
Uh-huh.
do I.
but on the other, so on the one hand, it's great and fast to get the news from the internet, but on the other hand, so I'm in two minds about that because you need to double check sometimes
Yeah.
whether the information is true or fake. That's why. But still, from the internet, I also learned the new things.
Uh-huh. So do you, subscribe to some
Yeah, I
news
follow some channels in Telegram.
on
Yeah.
Telegram? Yeah,
Yeah,
then some people choose YouTube channels, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, what I want you to do now, I want you to all open your books at page 80. And here we have a list of topics. So if you see some headlines online on the internet,
Mhm.
which topics would you find exciting or interesting to follow, and you would click on? So look at this. 1A, question 2.
Mm.
Mhm.
I would
Another
definitely,
Lena.
I would definitely click on the topics that scientists uncover birth of the galaxy because it sounds intriguing. So I would read about that.
Mm-hmm. Any other topics, Svetlana, Anya?
The fifth one. It sounds terrifying and
Tornado.
yeah. No, again, bad news.
And I would choose art that makes your eyes sore because it's interesting to read what kind of art might it be.
And you are a positive person.
Oh, well, Svetlana, how about you? What would you choose? Your mic is off.
Wait, oops, sorry.
That's okay.
I would choose scientists uncover birth of the galaxy. That's definitely- I'm interested in science fiction and novel, some documentary and art that makes your eyes sore.
Okay. And why are you interested in art?
Because so it's when people look at art, they develop somehow, and it's definitely influences. I mean, all the paintings are influence on their like well-being and state. To relax.
Light-hearted, yeah.
And the title is interesting because it's about the opposite influence.
I think the opposite. Yeah, absolutely.
Emotional. I think probably these paintings are, or not, probably they are not paintings, something evokes, or I don't know, evoke our emotions in people.
Some sort of emotions, yeah, that can make eyes sore or something. Well, I know that we read a lot online nowadays, but do you read paper books?
Yeah, I do.
Do you go to bookshops to buy paper books, or do you order books online?
So usually I order the book online and take it from the bookshop then. So I use that variant because there are some bonuses and discounts. So, but now I'm reading the series of the books which we could not, I suppose, buy anywhere in the shop because it's quite old and it's not published now. So I take it from my friend. So I borrowed the books.
And what is the title?
That's about the magician rules. If you are interested, I can send you then. The first rule of the magician, the second rule of the magician. And so there are about 10, I suppose. I'm on the fourth now.
Oh.
I read, so for me personally, so I read ebooks more often in order to save money. I want to buy a lot of them, and I download them for free. So from the internet, I have an ebook, a kind of Kindle, or what do we call it? I don't remember the name. Yeah, I guess Kindle.
Well, Kindle is one of the
Kindle,
is one of the books of ebook,
it's a kind
devices.
of.
Right. So, well, if we think of the blurb, that is usually written on the cover of the book. So more often we read those when we deal with paper books, though ebooks also have them. Well, but I'm not sure if we look at them because I usually skip those things. I have a library, e-library, a subscription, and when I finish reading the book, if it's an ebook, I usually flick through the pages and don't read the blurb at the back. But with paper books, it's kind of obvious that you pick the book and you read it. So here we have kind of a promotion, right? Rewire by Ethan Zuckerman. So have a quick read the blurb, you know, from a book written by this author. And look at the question, does he believe the internet makes us more or less connected? So what is his point of view? Are we more connected or less connected?
So I suppose his point of view is that we should have been more connected, but we are not actually. And in reality, we are less connected. And as he says, it's easier to ship bottles of water from Fiji to Atlanta than get the news from Tokyo to New York. Yeah, and so the communication online does not lead to increased community connection.
Yeah.
Human connection.
We haven't read the book, but do we feel that it is kind of true?
Somehow.
Somehow, yes, these days, so communication doesn't mean connection. They are not equal these days.
Why? Why do you think it happens? That we have a lot of means of communication at hand,
But less connection, that's the
but no,
paradox.
you know, connection. Why does it happen?
So maybe people nowadays are just too self-concentrated.
Maybe. And
Too
well,
busy.
do you agree, Jan, that people are more self-centered, busy? Any other reasons for that? We are going to listen.
Like the pace of life is increasing, and so people are actually are not self-centered. They are even more busy than they were like
Busier.
some in the past. So in the past, I think people were more stable, calm, and they had more time to each other and to connect. So they how to say, build those bonds and connection and relations. I think they had more chances to get on really well with each other and I don't know, improve those, to work on those connections and relations.
Yeah,
But
maybe
I-
standards.
Anya, please, and then we'll in turn. Then I'll ask
I
Lena to
suppose standards of life become higher and higher, and in this case, so people don't have enough time to stay in touch, yeah, to communicate with others. They only concentrate on work, on earning money.
Do you mean by saying standards? You mean that people want to acquire more material things, so focus on making money?
Yeah, basically, yes. So it is more important, valuable for most of us.
Lena, you wanted to comment on something?
Yeah, I quite disagree that people nowadays are becoming busier just because the previous generations, so my grandparents or my parents, so they told about their lives, and I suppose now we get a lot more things to help us to live in our world than they had, and so we choose. So now we've got a lot of opportunities, how to work, where to work, and so to organize our time, working time and family time. And they even didn't have such opportunity in the past. So just yesterday we talked with my dad, and he told that he, at my age, he slept for about 3 hours a day, just because he had to work. And so it took a lot of time to get to and from work. And he told, so how lucky we are now today is that we've got a lot of opportunities. So that's
You
why.
mean like technology that might help us to deal with
Yeah.
domestic things?
Yeah,
and
one point, yeah, that that's technology, and the second point that we really get now more options to choose from. I mean, the career, the professional development, and so on.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Anya, please.
We've got lots of information, extra information, fake information.
Yeah, the information flow is higher. Yes, true. And we have to deal with this emotionally, which is quite stressful. Yeah. Interesting. Right. We are going to listen to the podcast where, you know, a reader, you know, presenter is going to comment on the book, and we will compare our suggestions, our ideas for reasons like that, and what they cover. But before that, I want you to focus on the language in the blurb. And here I think we know most of the words, and we use quite a lot of them. Yeah. So this inevitably leads sounds really good. Yeah, like to something, like to make it more, or immensely powerful. We talked about the word immense. Yeah. And look at the word ubiquitous. Something is increasingly ubiquitous. If it's ubiquitous, what is meant? It's a very good word. C1 level word means like it seems to be everywhere. Like, for example, jeans are ubiquitous in our life, right? Everybody likes wearing jeans. Or
phones.
You would definitely say that the internet is ubiquitous, so we can't live without it. Or when you describe places, you might say the coffee shops are everywhere. They're ubiquitous. You know, like you can find, you know, a place to buy coffee from in any area. Yeah, like a good one to. So when the world is cosmopolitan, what is meant? We very often talk about cities, and actually we teach this word to our students when we talk about big cosmopolitan cities like St. Petersburg, Moscow, New York, London. So what is meant?
Urban, modern, with a lot of facilities.
And very often it's about a mixture of cultures. Yeah, when we talk about cosmopolitan cities, it's also about the cultural aspect. So, ladies, we are going to listen to a media expert, Zelda, discussing the Rewire book, this book by Ethan Zuckerman. I want you to compare your points with the points that we have been discussing. You might also want to look at the points below, which are, you know, highlighted in task F. The point is that we are going to listen to your talk just once, and then I'll post the recording for you to come back to it. So we're going to do it just for general understanding. If your points are, well, and actually the points covered in the book are similar to what we have suggested.
Track 3.31.
Welcome to From My Bookshelf, the weekly programme where guests talk about a book that they think everyone should read. This week's guest is media expert and commentator Zelda Freeman. Welcome, Zelda. Thank you very much for being here today. Tell us about your book.
The most intriguing book I've read in the past few years, Rewire by Ethan Zuckerman. He's an academic, and he thinks deeply about the role of media in our society.
Zuckerman, the main thing about his book, I hear, is that he's challenging the myth about the internet. Is that true?
Yes, the myth. And what's interesting is that we only think we're more connected, but the point he's making is that we're actually wrong. In some ways, the net manages to isolate us.
So we're all connected together, but we're isolating ourselves. That sounds like a contradiction. How's that possible?
Well, use myself as an example. I use the internet to find out news. I read a lot of newspapers online, but it's only British ones that I read. There's nothing stopping me from reading an English language newspaper in China. It's just a click away, but I don't. What Zuckerman is saying is that the internet is a very powerful tool, but very few of us exploit it to its full potential.
I have to ask, does it matter?
Well, yes. The reason why it matters is that we're living in an age of economic and physical connection. Our economies are connected. So if the share market in the US sneezes, then we all feel the effects. A dangerous virus breaks out somewhere in the world and it can travel around the globe very quickly. And more people are moving around. What we really need to understand is how other countries and cultures work. We're more linked into each other than we used to be, so we need to be a lot more cosmopolitan.
But in the 21st century, I'm sure a lot of people already know this. Does it actually matter if we don't do anything about it?
Well, good point. I mean, Zuckerman makes a very good point about that. We tend to think we know more than we actually do. It's a kind of false cosmopolitanism. And he uses this example because we know we could, in theory, read the Times of India online, but we almost begin to imagine that we actually do that, although in reality, we don't. It's the possibility of connection that means we begin to think of ourselves as being cosmopolitan.
So we begin to think that a possibility is a reality.
Exactly. I mean, that's fine for many things, but as far as the internet is concerned, I really think we need to think about it a bit more.
So why do you think that we don't connect more?
Well, Zuckerman suggests that our online behaviour is not that different from our offline behaviour. So, for example, we form social groups according to the people we meet as we grow up, and we get together with people with similar attitudes and interests.
So like we do in social media, we only friend people we want to actually be friends with.
Yes, that's right. What we don't do is explore much beyond that. But the thing is, we actually have the potential to do that.
So does Zuckerman himself, does he have any suggestions?
Well, he says that all we need to do is disconnect from our current way of thinking and rewire. We all have to learn to behave in a very different way.
How?
That's the problem. It's a challenge. You need to identify what he calls bridge figures. These are people who are able to translate ideas from one culture to another. They can explain it, give it context, and they help us to understand it.
So like in some kind of magazine or journal?
No, not really. He means being much freer than that. So, for instance, bloggers. These are people who have a passion for this kind of thing. Their information needs to be open and accessible, and therefore it's free for everyone.
Won't this just be more information online that people don't read?
So, as I mentioned before, business and politics are more and more connected. And business and political leaders need to be genuinely cosmopolitan in this day and age. So people who are bridge figures are likely to assume more and more important roles in business and also in politics. They've rewired already. So if we want to do well in the world, we need to rewire as well.
So, well, have they mentioned any of our ideas?
Uh, so the idea is that we believe that we are cosmopolitan, yeah, enough,
Uh-huh.
but it's false. So
Uh-huh.
I suppose we mentioned the idea is that we only concentrate on the sort of information that we need to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Uh-huh.
think more about ourselves than
Mhm.
about people, about
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
friends,
Mhm. Yeah.
neighbors.
Yeah. And
So
well, do you remember, what parallel do they draw? So what kind of information do we choose to focus on?
We think about ourselves as more cosmopolitan, but
Uh-huh.
thinking it doesn't mean the reality.
Yeah, interesting.
Possibility is a reality.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Then can
mhm.
you repeat, please?
They said possibility is the reality.
Yeah, true,
That's what I
absolutely.
meant.
Do you, well, why does the book, why is it called Rewire? So what is behind the name? So they commented, what is meant by rewire?
It's not like something should
We,
be
what do we need to do?
so
What do we need to
We
change?
need to rewire.
sort out, and kind of rebuild. I don't know, build again.
Mhm.
It should
To-
be built again.
To change our current way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To build more connections, to
Yeah.
build a better
Mhm.
vision. Yeah, interesting. Do you think it's easy to do?
Of course.
why
But
not?
Uh-huh. All
It's
right.
always difficult to change the current habit.
Yeah, something that we have been talking about,
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. Today we are going to talk a little bit more about the structure of emphatic sentences, which are called cleft sentences. And in speaking, we use them a lot to add emphasis. And while discussing the book, well, they've mentioned several sentences. So look at the beginnings, and here there are the second parts of the sentences. Match the halves, numbers and letters. I know that it's after one listening, it's difficult to do, but just read through. If you can match, that's good. But we will listen to the sentences again, and you will have a chance to match numbers and letters.
Mhm.
I repeat myself. If you remember, please do. If no, that's okay. Just read through. Okay. Now let's listen and match.
Track 3.32. 1C.
What's interesting is that we only think we're more connected.
2E.
The point he's making is we're wrong.
3A.
The reason why it matters is we're living in an age of economic and physical connection.
4D.
The thing we need to understand is how other countries and cultures work.
5B.
All we need to do is disconnect from our current way of thinking and rewire.
Okay. Any questions here? Well, I think it was easy to follow, right? There is no need to chat. Well, if we look at the structure of the sentences, which part is emphasized? So how
the
this
first one.
Mhm. Like we add emphasis to these highlighted parts and focus on the ideas. Yeah, here.
So the idea of the second part is
Disconnect from
Mm.
the way of
Yeah.
thinking and why.
And well, if we think of intonation, is it like usually fallen intonation or full rise intonation?
Full rise.
Full rise to add emotion. And in exams, in speaking, when you talk about your opinions, when you talk about something that is important, you emphasize, so the reader or the listener, sorry, follows you, yeah? So they are more common for speaking, yeah, like using in everyday speech to add emphasis, to invite people for agreement, or, you know, to comment on what you're saying. And usually the structures are quite easy. What comes after this part one? Which verb comes after part one?
is.
Is. The point he's making is. The reason why it matters is. All we need to do is. But you can use them about past forms as well. What he suggested
Was.
Well, it's possible. More often we use them about, you know, trends, about situations, about opinions at present, but could be said about the past. As usual, at home, I'll ask you to go back to the book, you know, and if you turn to page 151, so you will find a bit more information with the possible structures, you know, like well, and the grammar is quite simple, but the only thing is try to use them more often in speaking. For example, Kathy had the idea. It was Kathy who had the idea. It was her who had the idea.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think is kind of difficult or needs your focus or your attention is look at this structure. Look at this word that at the very bottom of the table. It was not until Leslie went away that I realized how much I missed her. Not when, but that. It's only when I'm alone that I feel insecure. So, well, the only, you know, grammatical aspect that needs focus, the rest I think is quite clear. The main thing to mention is he was the person, you know, who. So things are relatively easy to follow. So what I want you to do now, I want you to look at the sentences in F, which are like everyday sentences. We don't need Wi-Fi all over town. So can you follow the patterns suggested here and make them cleft sentences? Change them to cleft sentences, more emphatic sentences. For example, in number 1, what do you have to do?
Track 3.35.
So what
What
we
we need
suggest is we don't need
is
Mhm.
I
What we
suggest is
well, look at this. What we
need maybe. No, we can't.
look at the meaning. Look at the meaning. You don't
what we
change the-
don't need is
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Wi-Fi all over
One.
the town.
Mhm.
What we don't need is Wi-Fi all over town.
So you don't change the meaning. You leave it. Yeah.
Mhm.
You just change the structure a bit. Mhm. Are we ready? Anya, Svetlana? Okay, so in number 2, what do we have?
It's only the internet I use at home.
It's only work or
Where use the internet?
the internet? Yeah.
Ah,
It's only
Lesson.
work.
2.
It's only at work that I use the internet.
It's
Mm.
only at work that.
Can we use where? No?
Usually we use this because you are talking about this. It's the internet.
Uh-huh.
It's that. Because it's not about the place. It's about the internet.
Mhm.
Number 3, again, this the emphasis is about this only. So what do we have here?
All we have to do is to unsubscribe. Ой,
Mhm.
да,
Yeah.
unsubscribe to help us reconnect.
3.
All we have to do is unsubscribe from social media to help us reconnect.
Is unsubscribe, yeah. So here we drop this 2 here. So number 4.
What's incredible is how liberating it is to go digital.
Yeah.
4.
What's incredible is just how liberating it is to go digital.
Okay, Anya, can you try number 5?
words and losing touch with reality. The reason
And then
is-
you add it. The reason.
Why?
but we have to use it, no?
The reason you can use why, but
Why
you can
what?
why. Basically, the reason why
It
worries me.
it
Why?
worries me.
Mhm.
Because people end up living in virtual worlds and losing touch with reality.
Okay, listen.
5.
The reason it worries me is because people end up living in virtual worlds and losing touch with reality.
So you can keep Y and you can drop Y. And this because and that, you can keep it or you can drop it. Okay, so what I want you to do now, I want you to to look at the cleft parts. So all I seems to do, the reason why it's that, or maybe you can pick any of those. Think of 3 topics that you have to make up sentences about. Let it be teaching, educating or bringing up children, or communication. So can you focus on one or several of these topics? So think of some ideas that you want to share with girls, and it could be teaching, could be bringing up children, like being a mother, being a parent, or communication, the topic that we have been discussing today. Try to use some of your ideas in the form of cleft sentences. Are we ready? You don't have to think of many. What I want you to do, I want you to have 2 or 3, like several, and then being ready to comment on what your partner is saying or sharing. Do you agree with the point of view or no? Like developing, are you ready to develop similar ideas? Or...
So we need to type.
No,
Yeah.
well, no, let it discuss them. We can discuss more. When you type, well, you basically read, and it will take a lot more time. Okay, we'll type something next time.
I'm ready.
Okay, Lena, pick the first one, just one that about one idea or one concept. Okay.
All I seem to do recently is just getting my kids ready for different classes, and so that's all. I don't have much time to. I don't have enough time to spend together. I mean quality time, because I've been recently over downloaded with work. But I hope that will change soon because of the holidays. Yeah, and so because I've done the most of job I have to do.
Sveta, can you comment on what you have heard about being busy and things that Lena has just mentioned?
Yeah, the thing we really need to understand is
Svetlana, can you first comment on what Lena has mentioned? Do you agree with her? Do you feel similar?
I agree with her that I'm trying to do that. So I think it seems to me that the thing we really need to understand is being together doesn't mean stay connected. So because we just spend time with our children or relatives, but we are busy with other things. We don't listen to them carefully and don't look at them sometimes. We just, when they give us feedback, we don't respond like in a way. And so all we need to do is to set some routines, to organize some routines or some quality time with our children, even if it would be 3 minutes or 5 minutes a day.
So I absolutely agree with you, Svetlana. All we need to do is spend time with our children
Efficiently.
Efficiently, yeah.
Even if it's a moment during the day.
It is better than you spend all the day, but so you just
at least 3
tell you disturb me, so don't go there. And so on.
Just trying to keep them busy. Okay, Svetlana. So your point, your statement about anything.
It's like all
teaching, educating, or bringing up children or communication. Any point that you like.
The thing is, we really need to understand is the technological ability to communicate with someone doesn't inevitably lead to increased human connection.
Sounds very formal. You see, people get, well, in speaking exams at C1, I usually say, when you sound very sophisticated, the only thing people have to do is say, yes, I absolutely agree with you. Well, if you step down a bit to daily life, it will be easier to comment on, because making a very complex sentence sounds really great. It was very complex, very sophisticated, but it's really hard to comment on because you could say, yes, true, that's it. Any simple ideas?
Yeah, the reason why the reason why the connection matters is to become healthier physically and emotionally.
Okay. Anya, Lena, can you comment on that?
So we absolutely agree.
I don't know. It's difficult to come up with any ideas. I don't know why.
Well, you can develop one of the aspects that's constantly being online can lead to more stress in daily life. Yeah.
Yeah, and
and the point that a lot of doctors and psychologists are making is to arrange some digital detox, from time to time.
Because spending time online is leads to energy loss. Our energy.
Okay. Anya, over to you.
So the reason why I started our English course is to improve my skills and to become more high qualified
to become more
More
qualified,
confident, more confident.
or more qualified. Yeah.
All I
Uh-huh.
need talking about my teaching. No, talking about my English lessons. All I need to do is reduce my speaking time during the lesson.
We
And
all have to, yeah. I
Okay.
absolutely.
Lena, can you comment on that?
Yeah, that's one of the most important things that I've learned from our course, that we always need to to try to reduce our teaching talking time and to give our students more opportunities to talk themselves. Yeah, to create this atmosphere and to provide this process to become for them to be more efficient. Yeah. Yeah, and we recently talked with Anya, and I told her that I've noticed that she has become really more confident, and so I can notice her progress. Yeah, and so she was really happy to hear that.
Okay, Lena, can you say the same thing that you have been saying about
Yeah.
Anya? The thing using this, the thing
the thing I really need to understand, and the thing I really understood is
yeah, or the thing I told Anya is possible. The other
the
day,
thing
the thing I told Anya was
that I noticed her progress, and that the way that she is talking now is becoming more and more confident.
Great. And there was an interesting idea that we need to give our students more student talking time. Can you say the same idea using this, Anya? All we
need to do is
as teachers, yeah. All we need to do as teachers.
all we need to do as teachers is to give our students freedom, chance to talk.
More
freedom,
more free practice activities. Yeah, true. Any other interesting points that you would like to voice and share with your group
The
mates?
reason why I joined the course was my desire to rewire my language learning skills, and my teaching habits.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds great. Like very complex, very kind of observant. Ladies, do you have a lot of online friends?
So,
online friends, well, if you look at the profiles at your accounts on social media like VK, I don't know, Instagram or Telegram, do you have a lot of friends or subscribers or people you follow?
I even don't know the number.
You don't even know the number. I see.
I have never noticed that. But so I've got no people who I only chat online, for example. So all of them, so I know in real life, and so I've got some friends who live far away in other cities and countries, and it's a great opportunity to talk to them online because we don't have a lot of opportunities in real life to meet, maybe only several times a year. So when we travel or when they travel, but so I can count them on my fingers. Yeah, so
I see.
that's not a big number.
We are not yet at the age of having a lot of subscribers without meeting them in a real life.
Well, do you have any, I don't know, colleagues or people you follow who you admire, but you haven't met face to face?
Not colleagues, but sometimes. So I do some research and find videos, funny, interesting videos that help me to use some tips during the lessons.
Some suggestions, some tips. Okay.
I've also got the subscription to a teacher. She lives in France, and I have not met her in real life, but we met in Zoom sessions, so we talked together. And
exciting. And who initiated? Was it you or her?
I got the course that she's it was me who initiated because I wanted to learn something from her. So I bought the course and so studied. But she is sharing some ideas. She shares some ideas on Instagram, and I follow her and.
Well, Svetlana, how about you? Any other examples? Maybe I know that some people follow chefs, some people follow psychologists, some people follow, some bloggers.
I've followed lots of colleagues from Cambridge department, from Moscow Cambridge department, who I really admire, who run their own business, and they have like more than one child, and they are like, I don't know, they can cope or can manage doing everything. So like, and also they are bloggers, and they have lots of subscribers.
I see.
The followers.
But we all agree that online communication is slightly different from, face-to-face communication, yeah? Well, which one is easier for you, online or face-to-face?
Face-to-face.
Face-to-face. For many people, face-to-face and communication is easier. So if I ask you to turn your books to page 84, here we have an article which is called Loneliness and Temperature. So what do you think it is about? How loneliness is connected to temperature? What do you think?
You feel yourself lonely.
Lonely people. Coldness, something like the coldness connected to loneliness.
Somehow. Have you ever thought about the connection?
No.
Never. Well, my point is that I have never thought about it. I had never thought about it before I read it. So what I want you to do, I want you to have a look at the statements in B. Well, there's true or false ideas before we read the article. The article is full of interesting language, but I don't want you to focus on the language items. I want you to focus on ideas. So I want you to think of the ideas. Do you think they are true or false? Feeling colder improves our ability to understand. Well, what do you think? We will check with the article in a moment. Is it true or false?
Feeling colder. Somehow,
Maybe. We're not sure about that. Maybe. Increasing the temperature of a room could help resolve an argument.
It's a great way to use.
Uh-huh. If true, then it's an interesting way. Uh-huh. Some national and regional personality characteristics can be explained by climate.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
I think everybody thinks this way. Well, feeling warmer makes us feel more connected to other people.
Maybe.
And the last one, loneliness can affect our physical health.
Yeah, that's definitely
Sounds
true.
like true. So,
Mhm.
okay, take a moment, read through the article and try to identify the points, if they're true or false, and highlight them, because when we talk about true false statements, we really need to identify ideas in the text. Mhm.
I'm sorry, but I have to leave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck. I hope.
Thank you very much
Mhm.
for joining today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Based on
let's
this research, would you prefer-
let's discuss the statements. So, what about number one? Is it true or false?
No, based on this article,
Mm-hmm.
it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So how do we know this? What does the article say?
so people who had been exposed to cold temperatures find it easier to grasp viewpoints, to understand other people,
Okay.
the right decision.
Right. When we grasp viewpoints, what do?
So we understand, we
Yeah,
follow.
definitely. We understand. We are able to, see the options. Yeah. Okay. Right. So it's true. Increasing the temperature of a room could help resolve an argument. Is it true or false?
Yeah, it's also true.
Lena, how about
Suppose
you?
that's false, because to take the heat out of disagreement, you should take the heat out of the room.
Yeah. So
So you
it's
should decrease the temperature of the room. The opposite,
yeah,
right?
it's the opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite. Well, you remember this number 3? I think it's the most difficult one in this article. Some national regional personality characteristic can be explained by climate. So what would be the key point here? Some national and regional, right? Regional. Personality characteristics can be explained. So what does the article say about national and regional characteristics?
This might explain tolerance of Canadians and the prejudice of the US South.
But then look at the text. Sadly, on closer reading, the study is only a partial victory for cold. Well, so does it say that it's enough proof?
No.
No, the answer would be false.
False.
Because, people say, people think, but at the word level, he specified that there is not enough proof. Okay. So what about number 4?
So I've chosen that it's true because
Why?
so hot bath relieve loneliness and reminded an experience of exclusion prompts.
Okay. And here the text also says the coldness makes people feel lonely, and loneliness make people feel
cold.
cold. So it's
we can conclude, that the opposite.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, and what about the last one?
No, I suppose it's true.
So how do we know? What does the text say?
Loneliness. No. So
very
severe loneliness really can hurt physically. Been found to, I don't know how to spell.
Exacerbate
numerous serious.
So and here it's been Anya, we are here. It's been found to exacerbate numerous serious diseases.
Yeah.
So very often you are asked questions about, tricky language, and from the context, if we look at the severe loneliness really can hurt, we understand that diseases, are they becoming better, easier, or worse?
Worse.
Worse. So when you make something bad, worse, it means to exacerbate, diseases. So the answer is definitely true. Well, ladies, are there any surprising points that were really something that you haven't heard of before?
Association with words. I really like the idea. So when you can hear the words associated with old age, like bingo or great. In this case, they make people start walking more slowly or be unproductive, not so energy maybe. That is the reason of our lazy sometimes, being
laziness.
lazy.
Yeah, true.
Because of
So
the work.
what about the desire to have like hot food when you feel lonely, like this urge to ask for hot food if you feel lonely? So have you ever noticed something like this?
No.
So I always prefer eating very hot food and drinking very hot drinks, but I haven't ever thought about this connection.
Well, and that sometimes people perception of the temperature is different depending on how they feel. That's interesting, right? Okay, Anya, you wanted to comment on something?
No, I suppose drinking hot drinks, so the doctors, always recommend us to drink warm,
not hot.
Yeah. Well, this is one thing. This is understanding that it's healthier, or better for your health. But if we think of something that subconsciously people would choose or prefer in this or that mental condition, it's something that, something that is kind of interesting. Or if you feel lonely, go to, a hot bath and then listen to yourself. Maybe you will feel better. Or if you eat like hot food or warm food, you will probably feel a bit better. That sounds interesting.
I'd say hot things can reduce stress, the level of stress. So if you are too tired, so that might help.
So I suppose Russian people prefer eating hot food.
But this is more about like general trends. Maybe it's the climate, maybe when the weather is like that. But when you feel a certain way that you subconsciously choose something, that's interesting. I'm not sure that everything is true, but it's interesting to observe,
to double check.
To double check, like observe yourselves or your children, how people feel, what kind of things they choose and things like this. So let's focus a little bit on the language. So I think we know most of the words highlighted in orange, apart from some. Look at this, explain the affable tolerance. What's that? What do you think?
Like natural.
Well, like a pleasant, yeah, like something that is affable is like
And-
something obvious or pleasant or like the pleasant. Mhm. So I'm sure we know the word prejudice. What is that? What kind of state is that?
So when everybody used to think about something in a specific way, but it may not be true.
Yeah, like this is your prejudice when you think of something, a state of thinking of something in a certain way, which is not necessarily true.
Like from the book, Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice.
Like narrow-minded, yeah? No?
Well, it's not necessarily being narrow-minded. It's maybe thinking more of something, you know. Well, this is not being objective, because sometimes this is not only about being narrow-minded. Making judgment about a situation which you're not sure about or you don't know. This предубеждение, мне кажется, у нас то же самое, да, это не обязательно какой. Look at the word here. Like you have the verb here, players who have thus ostracized showed a marked preference for hot food. So when somebody is ostracized, and here we have ostracism, a noun. So this is the feeling when you refuse to accept somebody. The Russian variant is ostrakism. The word is originated from Latin. When you are, you know, make decisions by, you know, breaking pots. You can Google the word, but the meaning is when you refuse to accept a certain member of the family into the group. This is the meaning. Мне кажется, мы слово остракизм редко используем в русском языке вообще, да? But I think the verb could be used a lot more often. So the rest, I think, social contact, security, isolated, are quite common, right? So there are also a couple of good phrases, language items that I think we might focus on. Look at this. When something is the music, or something is music to your ears.
It's pleasant.
Yeah, it's pleasant to hear. I think the word trigger is trigger an emotion, trigger a sense of distance. A very good one to use.
Very popular nowadays.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about emotional context. Okay.
Yes.
And there is another idiom, something to be in the doghouse lately. So look at the context. When you are in the doghouse, are you approved or or disapproved of? Yeah, to be disapproved of something means have been in the doghouse, like isolated again, disapproved of. Okay, any other questions? Well, the general, when we
like nudge in the right direction, like a step.
Yeah, well, push, like a push. Nudge in the right direction, like a push. The rest, I think, is understandable. So when we talk about more formal contexts, we tend to use nouns, right? And here we have like security, intimacy, loneliness, prejudice, and at home there will be a task to work with the language items and try to use a bit of those in everyday speech while talking to each other. So we're about to finish. I hope that you will have enough time to restore your batteries and to find some quality time to spend with your nearest and dearest. I'm sure you need that. And we resume the lessons in a week. So we're not going to meet next week. You will have a break from the classes, and we resume the lessons on the 14th of May. Enjoy the break. Time to recharge the batteries, to catch up with the studies, you know, listen to something again, watch something for pleasure, do things like this. Enjoy the holidays.
Yeah, the same to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.